Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Marco Podcast.
This show was created to shine a light on the realness of being an entrepreneur. Why organization is not a one-size-fits-all, why you need to give yourself grace, and so much more. The Marco Podcast aims to provide motivation, inspiration, or encouragement for you to keep going after your dreams. I'm your host, Angel. Sit back and prepare for valuable tips, resources, laughs, and so much more. If this is your first time here, welcome, and thanks for joining. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back, and I hope you brought a friend. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. Happy August. Can't believe that it's August already. This summer really flew by. But before we get into this episode, I just want to let you know that voting is now open for the 2024 Women in Podcasting Awards. And to vote, you can go to womenpodcasters.com/vote and select the business category and then vote for the Monaco podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. And also the link is in the show notes. The link in the show notes is the direct link to my page to vote for me. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Please don't judge me. You can just click on that and it'll take you there. And again, I would greatly appreciate it if you all would vote for me. The next thing is I was recently on another episode of Penny for Your Shots. You all may remember that Penny was on my show a few months ago. And then I did an episode on her show a few months ago. And so I'm on her show again, and then she'll be back on my show again soon. And we had such a great time recording. Penny is so fun. Penny was the one who the episode was called What the Sip, and we talked about wine and all that stuff. I'll link that into the show notes so that you can check out the episode there. Also, I was recently a guest on Insecure Faith Meets Joy and Freedom with Shanika G. Shanika was on here a couple of weeks ago as well with episode, I think It's Not My Plan. I think I told y'all in the episode that we recorded that we were recording my show first and then hers. So definitely check that episode out. It was good times, and I'll link that in the show notes as well. And my last update is that my devotional that I wrote, Fear and Forgiveness, is available on my website, themodcosc.com/book. It is also available on Barnes & Noble's website and Lulu, which is who I use for my self-publishing. And I tried to get it on Amazon, but it was rejected because it's considered a journal and has too many lined pages, which I didn't really understand because I'm pretty sure that I bought journals off of Amazon before, but it is what it is. At first I was really kind of upset about it, and I was like, well, why? Like I said, I've bought journals off of Amazon before. I bought plenty of devotionals off of Amazon before, and now you're telling me that mine has too many line pages. But I got over it. I'm fine. I was like, maybe there's a reason I'm not supposed to be on Amazon, and honestly, I'm not sweating it. I'm just really trying to learn not to sweat the things that I can't control. Like, I'm not getting ready to go and change my whole book. I'm not getting ready to redesign it or anything like that. If you've already purchased a copy of it, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And if you have already purchased a copy of it and you finish reading it, I would also love it if you would go over to my website, please, and leave a review of the book. I would greatly appreciate that as well. I know I'm asking a lot of you guys, but I really appreciate all of your support. And in case you missed it, the book is a 16-day devotional, and it talks about, so the beginning of the book talks about fasting and why we fast, and gives you different tips for fasting. And then the second half of the book is a devotional about fear and forgiveness, 16 days, and each day comes with a story, a Bible verse that goes along with the story, some reflection questions for you, and then a prayer at the end of it. And the back of it has lined pages in it. Go grab a copy of it. And so all those links will also, of course, be in the show notes. So yeah, I think that's all of my housekeeping for this episode. School starts back for my kid next week. I know some people have already gone back to school because they do year-round school, or when their district goes back. I think our district is actually like one of the latest ones to go back. So, and I just remember at the beginning of the summer, I was just like, oh my gosh, the summer's going to be so long. What are we going to do? I need to figure out stuff to do. I need to plan stuff to do. And I did. I planned stuff. I had so many ideas of different things to do this summer. I looked up different events and stuff like that that were going on around just so that my son wouldn't be in the house all summer bored. I had stuff lined out. And the next thing I knew, it was already the end of June. And now here we are with it being August. And um, so I asked my son the other day what his favorite part of the summer was, and he told me he would have to let me know once school started back. I was wondering why he couldn't just tell me what he had enjoyed that we've done so far, but I guess he wants to put it all together and then go from there to determine what was his favorite part. But even though we didn't get to everything that was planned this summer, we did have some really fun this summer. My son attended vacation Bible school for the second summer, and he loved that. He was in the class with four of his friends, so that was really cool for them to all be together. He had multiple birthday parties, y'all. This kid had so many birthday parties. Like the month of June was jam packed with birthday parties. We literally had a birthday party every single Saturday in June. July was a little I don't think we had any birthday parties in July, honestly. We've been to the pool so many times with friends of his, and we've done mini golf outings and just so many other activities that I think he's really enjoyed and he's had a good time with. And then we also did a trip to Nashville. It was it was all of our first times going to Nashville, and oh my gosh, it was so much fun, y'all. And my son, he tried to extend the trip by 10 days. And I was like, do you have 10 more days of hotel money? He said, no. But don't you guys have it? I was like, no, actually, we don't have 10 more days of hotel money. So you're going to take this. I think we're there for 4 days and 3 nights, something like that. I was like, so you're going to take this trip here. And you're going to enjoy it. And we'll come back at some other point in time. And I also want to give a shout out to John from Check the Locks podcast. When we decided to go to Nashville, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, can you tell me like some stuff to do in Nashville and some things to do? And he gave me a bunch of ideas and activities for us to do. If you're into true crime and you do not listen to Check the Locks, I'm not quite sure what you're doing, but once you're finished this episode, go ahead and check out Check the Locks podcast. It's my favorite true crime podcast. But if you decide to go to Nashville, you have to go to the pharmacy. So we ate there our first night, and that was actually one of John's recommendations. And it's a burger place, and it has a beer garden, and the burgers were absolutely amazing. Like I think that was the best food that we had while we were in Nashville. And it was also burger week when we went, so all the different places had like all these different funky burgers and stuff because it's a competition, and whoever I guess the gets voted the best burger, they automatically get a spot into the competition for the following year and also bragging rights for the year. So it was cool. My son had a burger, I think pretty much every meal that we were there, but he didn't try any of the fun funky burgers. Like I think one place we went to, they had a taco burger that we saw. Another place had a peach chutney burger, I think it was. I can't remember, but definitely some interesting, funky, off the wall things there. And then we also went to Cheekwood Botanical Gardens, and it was so beautiful, y'all. Like so beautiful. I think we spent probably about 2 or 3 hours out there, and they currently have 6 foot trolls. I think they change their exhibits out every now and then. So this exhibit is going on. I think it said from May to September, and there are these 6 foot trolls that are scattered throughout the park. And in the booklet it tells you like about the trolls, and all of the trolls are made from recycled material. Like even if you're not going to Nashville, I mean, I don't know if anybody's just going to plan on packing up and running off to Nashville, but just go to Cheekwood Botanical Gardens website and you can see the pictures of the trolls, and they are They're so pretty. So we had fun searching through the park and looking for them and then reading about them. And then my son asked everyone who worked at the garden like which troll was their favorite troll, and he had all the trolls memorized. And so he's like, number 1, number 3, number 5. And people were saying, "Can you give me a description of the troll?" I don't know what the numbers are, but he knew the number and the description from just our short time of being there. And he's also currently standing over me right now. And so he would like for me to let you all know that if you do happen to pack up and run off to Nashville and you go to check out these trolls, when you go into the garden, make sure that you go to the left to start with troll number 1, because we went to the right and we started with troll number 6 and then we had to backtrack. And he said that it's very important that you all start off in the right direction and know where to go. So that's his little tip if you do go there. But that was our big thing for the summer. And so now it's time for me to get back on my game of thing because I slacked off on organizing, planning, all that stuff, like just big time this summer, y'all. I slacked off so much that it's ridiculous. But I will say that I did rage organize all of the drawers in the kitchen one day. I was looking for something and I think the drawer like wouldn't fully open, or I couldn't find what it was that I was looking for, and I was like, nope, I can't live like this. And so I just went and I started taking stuff out and throwing stuff away and moving stuff around. Some of the stuff I was just like, why do we even have this? What does this go to? What does it belong to? It was random cords and stuff. And you can't throw a cord away because the second you throw it away, you're gonna need it. But I was just like, okay, let me throw these cords in another drawer, like out of sight. So I put them someplace else. And then I told my husband, that I had reorganized and where stuff was. Then a couple of days later, he's like, I couldn't find such and such. I was like, because it's in the closet. I told you that. I raged organized. And then I also started organizing the bathroom one day while my family was waiting on me to go somewhere. I really thought that they said we were just going to sit around and kind of chill, and then we were going to go out. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that gives me time to go reorganize the bathroom. It should only take me like 15, 20 minutes. 45 minutes later, they came upstairs looking for me because they thought that I had fallen asleep and forgotten that we were supposed to be going somewhere when I had not, in fact, fallen asleep. I was just really in a mood to organize and get my life together at that moment in time. So, yeah, those were my big organizing things for the summer, I think. But I do have a funny story about organizing. So one night I went out with some mom friends of mine, and one of them is a nurse. And so I was getting on her because I really just feel like you should have one of those doctor bags in your car filled with all of the supplies that you need in case you run into a wreck or an emergency or something like that on the side of the road. I said, or in case someone needs your help, like, what are you gonna do? I was like, you at least need a first aid kit in the car. And she's like, yeah, no. And I was just like, seriously? And so I was like, so the other mom that was with us, she said, well, I don't have a first aid kit in my car either. I'm like, what are you doing? You have 3 kids. What do you mean you don't have a first aid kit in your car? Why is there no first aid kit in your car? And they said, well, Angel, do you have one in your car? I was like, do I? Yes. And I was actually mad when, after I got in my car accident, my car was totaled because I had a really nice first aid kit in my car. I think I had used most of the stuff, but it was still a nice one. I forgot to get it out of my car when I was getting all of my other stuff out of the car. And so luckily when I got my new car, it did come with the first aid kit, but it's always just like kind of generic stuff, like a couple of band-aids and just the little like one or two like antibacterial wipes, and that's it. So I usually always restock the first aid kit. And I had to definitely make sure that I restocked it this summer because at one of the birthday parties that we went to, I got stung by a wasp and I was out of bug bite spray in my car. And I think I had like two antibacterial wipes left in my first aid kit. And so one of the moms, the party was right by our house. So she ran back to her house and got like some hydrocodone cream. Is that right? Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But she got on some of that cream and like some antibacterial cream. And then another little boy ended up getting stung like maybe an hour after I did. And so I gave his mom like my last antibacterial wipe and the last bit of supplies that I had in there to help him. So that same day I did a Target order and I got like after spray and I got more band-aids and Neosporin and all of that to put into my first aid kit. So, side note, if you do not have a car first aid kit, just go out and get one. Just put the simple things in there. Some antibacterial wipes, some afterbite spray, some band-aids, like not a cold compress, an ice pack that you can break up and use if you need to. My first aid kit also has one of those like sunshade heat protector things. I guess if you get like overheated or if you're stuck someplace in the sun, that came in the kit. I didn't buy that separately. But I mean, you can go to Target or Walmart and get just little pre-made first aid kits, or if you're like me and you want to make your own, you can do that as well. And I also have in the car, I need to restock. This isn't in my first aid kit, it's separate from my first aid kit, but I have Tylenol in there. I have Advil in there. I have in my first aid kit, I have Benadryl cream, and then in my other little kit, I have like hand sanitizer in there, and then I have like antibacterial hand wipes in there, and some other stuff that I can't remember. So just like good stuff to keep in your car in case you never know when you're gonna need it. So, but anyway, so I told them I had the first aid kit in my car. And I was like, I also have extra clothes in there for myself and my son. I was like, I have a blanket, I have rain boots. I was like, I have a pair of Uggs, I have a pair of Crocs, I have the big thing of hand sanitizer in my car. I was like, lotion, enough napkins to stock a small cafe along with forks and straws. And they did not believe it. There's like, there's no way that you have all of this stuff in your car. And I was like, yeah, I actually do. So after we finished dinner, we took a field trip to my car and so that they could see that I was actually telling the truth and my car actually does look like that. They was like, okay, so we know where to take shelter in your car. They said the only thing that I was missing was snacks. So I'm going to work on getting some non-perishable snacks to stick in my car. But they was like, well, why don't you just put the stuff in your car when you need it? And I said, because I'll forget to do it, like especially when soccer season or something like that is in, or when we go on a trip, I'll take the extra stuff out, like the extra blanket and clothes and stuff like that, so that we have enough room in the trunk. And then sometimes I'll forget to put it back in when we get back home, and then that's when I actually need it. But I will have y'all know my extra clothes and my kits and all that stuff has came in handy several times because like I said, we spent a lot of time in the pool this summer. And then sometimes we'd go to people's house afterwards. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't bring a change of clothes. Well, now the change of clothes is in the trunk of the car. And so I have texted him every time I've had to use one of my emergency supplies. And I'm like, hey, guess what I had to do today? So that's always funny when I do that. And then also when we went on a trip to Nashville, my husband's coworker, they were like talking about like packing and stuff like that. His coworker was like, "Oh, so y'all only going for 4 days?" He was like, "Oh, that shouldn't be a lot of packing or something along the lines." He said, "Yeah." My husband's like, "Yeah, you don't know my wife." He said, "We're going for 4 days, so that means that we're going to have enough clothes for at least 8." He said, "There's also going to be blankets and towels and sheets." And he was like, "And only she knows what else is in those bags." He's like, "I literally have no clue what's in those bags." So when we go on trips, if we go on a family trip, I pack for everyone. I have a rule that no one is allowed to touch the suitcase. I do not like it. Please do not mess with my suitcase. I usually do like 2 outfits per day. Of course, extra underwear. And then you also need extra clothes just in case. And then when we get to wherever it is that we're going, I also lay everybody's clothes out. So for nighttime, I lay your nighttime clothes out with your washcloth and your towel. And then at night, I'll go ahead and lay out the clothes for the next day. If you need something out of the suitcase, please ask me. Please do not go in my suitcase. My son is still kind of learning this because he's like, "Ooh, I need something out the suitcase." I was like, "Ooh, do not touch my suitcase, please. Leave it alone. Tell me what you need." And because I'm just organized like that, and I have to make sure that I have everything that we need. And I used to pack for my husband even when he was going on a solo trip by himself, but I've stopped doing that. I only do it now if we're all going on a trip together. So, and whenever I go on a trip, whether it's a solo trip or whether it's the whole family, I always take a picture of all my stuff laid out and packing and the size of like the suitcase or whatever that I have, and I'll send it to my cousins and we'll play a little game of guess how long I'm gonna be gone. or guess how long we're gonna be gone, and guess where we're going. So, um, yeah, so that part of my life, the packing I had organized, we was good to go. I guess I haven't really been off my game this summer. Well, in some aspects, I have really been off my game this summer because I was not updating my calendar regularly. I double booked myself and had to reschedule several things because it was just really kind of like flying by the seat of my pants. Like I said, I had plans, but the plans went out the window. Um, I've slacked off with keeping track of my goals. Um, and my husband even called me out a few times, like about forgetting stuff or not putting stuff on the calendar because he's like, it's not on the calendar. And I was like, is it not? I know I put it on the calendar. And he's like, no, he was like, it's not on the calendar. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I definitely need some structure back in my life, and especially with school getting ready to start back, I have to get my structure back. I also joined a gym this summer, so I'm really proud of myself for that. So I definitely want to make sure that I incorporate that into my routine. And I've been doing my personal and my business meetings with God, trying to, not trying, well, yeah, trying, because I'm a little stubborn sometimes, but just asking Him to guide me and to reveal to me what it is that He wants me to do and for me not to be so stubborn at things. And so I really need to get back on making that a routine and incorporating that into my routine.
Hi, everybody.
And He's back. Um, my lack of organization is really starting to like make me itch and make me rethink my entire life. And so I need to get myself back together. My planner is currently buried under some papers on my desk. And I really feel so bad about the way that I've treated it, y'all. Like all those beautiful pages just blank and they're never going to be used. And it's kind of sad. But I am happy to say though that I have all school supplies, that all school supplies have been purchased. All of the school clothes have been bought. Shout out to my husband for taking care of that. And I've labeled everything and I put them in the bags to take to school on Meet the Teacher Night that's coming up here. And my August calendar is up to date. So I'm kind of getting my game plan back together. Everything's kind of sort of coming together. So you all know all about my summer disorganization and all that has been going on in my summer life. So disorganization, it happens. But it's just important that we recognize it and that we get back on track with it at some point in time, and that we don't let it consume us, that we don't let it get too out of hand. Like if you notice it's starting to get out of hand, try to jump back on that. But I would love to hear whether or not your summer plans went as planned, whether or not you stayed on top of your goals and your organization, or whether you're kind of like me and you just kind of let it slide a little bit, but now you're trying to get back on track with it. So send me a DM or send me an email, or Spotify now has where you can comment on episodes. So if you listen on Spotify, leave me a Spotify comment and let me know.
Rocky's here too.
And my kid's Lanky Box plushie Rocky, who goes everywhere with us, is currently in here as well. All right, I will chat with you all again soon. So
Bye, everybody. Rocky says bye too.
bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Modco podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and learned something from it. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, family member, colleague, or anyone you think will enjoy it. Make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you love the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcasting app. That helps others to find us and gets us listed in other show recommendations. So you all know that I run on coffee, and so does the show. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by clicking on the link in the show notes. Thank you so much, and chat soon.